Hello students, welcome to Ekam Academy. In this small video, I'll be teaching you about a very important theory called Theory of Justice, as was propounded by a very famous philosopher called John Rawls. Rawls has given this theory of justice. The crux of this theory of justice is how we can provide justice in society. As some of you may know, Rawls was an American philosopher. He was an American philosopher who gave this theory to the world in 1971. See, Rawls says that we need to establish a fair and just society. But however, as we all know, this society is not fair and just. And in his theory, he gives us how we can establish a fair and just society. Say for example, let us presume we all know that our society is not homogeneous, but our society is heterogeneous. What does it mean? We have different type of people in our society. Say for example, we have rich people and we also have poor people. We also have weak people. We also have strong people. He says, in a society which is by its very nature heterogeneous, giving justice is very, very important. And some of you may be aware, John Rawls is a very big critic of the utilitarian theories also. So what is this utilitarian? We'll explain. Utilitarian. He was a big critic of utilitarian. He says that, as we know, utilitarians believe in greatest good for greatest number. This is their belief system. If a particular act, policy or decision of the government is giving greatest good to the greatest number, it is just. But Rawls says that no. In this scenario, few people will face injustice. So this is not the right way to govern. I'll explain you the utilitarian theory with the help of an example. Assuming this is a railway track. Assuming this is a railway track and there is a diversion in the railway track also. Now, there were 5 people working on this railway track, we will assume. Now, a train was to come from this direction. This is the direction of the train, and this train has lost its control. This train has lost its control, the brakes have failed. And in this track, 2 people were working. Now, there is no way of stopping this train. So, in this scenario, the utilitarians, what they suggest is, instead of making the train to go in this direction, where 5 people are working, it is better to shift the direction of the train where only there is a possibility that these 2 people may die, but we would save the life of these 5 people. So, this is where the utilitarians are talking about greatest good to greatest number. But however, the theory of John Rawls of justice, it does not support this theory of greatest good to greatest number. He basically says that in a society, everybody should be just and fair. It means fair and just treatment should be given to everybody. Now, it is not possible, right? You all know. Now, what he suggests is, it can be achieved. But he says we need to take few assumptions to achieve this, what you call fair and just society. What assumptions he says? There is something known as original position. There is something known as original position, and there is something known as veil of ignorance. These two, we need to understand what it is to understand the theory of justice of John Rawls. Original position. Say for example, we have our lawmakers. The lawmakers makes laws for us. We all know this. Now, because the lawmakers knows for whom they are making a law, they will make laws to suit them. But however, John Rawls says the law should not be made like this. Say for example, this is the society for which laws are being made. There are many people in this society like this. Now, he says that, for example, these 2 people are the lawmakers in this society. Who are they? They are the lawmakers in this society. What John Rawls says is that in the original position, he says that if they know that they are making a law for a society for rich people, or they are making a law in a society where people are poor, or they are making a law for a people who are weak, if they are making a law for a people who are strong, they would be influenced by their position in the society. So he says that the original position will not be achieved if they know for whom they are making this law. So John Rawls suggests that the lawmaker should not know for whom they are making law, so that they will hold original position in pure perspective of delivering justice. So if they achieve this, that this veil of ignorance means they do not know for whom they are making law. If this veil of ignorance, like a blanket or a wall, if this is established, the lawmakers will ensure that their laws or policies are just and fair. So what happens here? Because they are just and fair, we will be able to establish a just and fair society. This assumption is what John Rawls is making. Now, he says how we can, achieve this. He says there are two principles of the justice that John Rawls is suggesting. He says the society that we establish, the society should provide them liberty. The liberty to choose what they want to, the profession it could be, or anything in the society. A society should give the independence to this person to choose what he wants to become. It should not be based on any condition as such. So whether you are rich, whether you are poor, whether you are weak, whether you are strong, everybody should have liberty to think and also to act as per their wisdom. And secondly, he says that everybody should be given an opportunity. This opportunity should not be divided. Say for example, he says, for assuming there is inequality. If there is inequality in the society, very common that there would be inequality in the society. He says, for example, the income of one individual is 10 lakh rupees and the income of other individual is say 50,000 rupees. Now, there is a difference in the income of these two individuals. One individual is getting 10 lakh rupees. The other individual is getting 50,000 rupees. So John Rawls says that we need to create a system where despite inequality, there should not be discrimination in this society. How he says the discrimination can be removed? We need to tax this individual, and the revenue generated out of this tax should be given as a public good to the individual who is looking for this. So this is where he is talking about distributive justice. You would have understood that this is how he is talking about the distributive justice that he is trying to give to this society. So this is how the John Rawls theory is talking about fair and just society and also bringing distributiveness in the justice. Now, one more thing that we need to understand here is, if you know Amartha Sin, he was a critic of John Rawls. He was a critic of John Rawls. He says that instead of this, what Amartha Sin says is that just by providing social and political liberty, just if you provide this social and political liberty to the people, you cannot bring down inequality in this society. He says that for economic inequality, you need to do something known as, instead of taxing the rich, you have to take the money from the rich and give it to the poor. the taxing will not bring any difference. It is basically taking the money from the poor, from the rich, and giving it to the poor will bring actual justice in society, not by just giving social and political liberty in policy making or something. Okay, understand, this is very, very important. So the primary premise of the John Rawls theory is that a society, if it is just and fair, that is the society that we all should aspire for. I shall be starting a new batch of PSIR starting from 16th of June 2025. For details related to enrollment and other details of the batch, you may call on the numbers given on the view file. Thank you. Jai Hind.